MSAs. And we know that, Kevin.
Well, yeah, and I get that.
Kevin, I want you to push back on the show today. We appreciate the Bears perspective.
100%. I'll put it in a different perspective. I had a bunch of and you got some New York folks visiting you, right?
Staying at our house right now.
So I had a bunch of New York folks.
My in-laws are in our house right now.
Did we?
We should start the party. Let's start the show.
I think we're doing the show.
We're doing the show right now, which is just a testament to the chemistry here. All right, Judah Wickower, let's rock and roll here because I think we are doing the show.
I just wanted to.
We're doing the show.
I just wanted to have a sip of my coffee. That's all.
We're doing the show.
I love that little 30-second 100%. Intro that I get an opportunity to sip a coffee.
That 30-second intro went about 4.5 minutes because we're having fun already.
So I'm sipping my coffee. Good morning, everybody.
We're waiting on some instructions from the director here. Does he have? Is he missing something over there? Did anybody hear him?
Look at that.
There we go.
Hey, quiet on the set.
Hey, look at us.
Yeah, very nice.
Same shirts.
Are those J. Crew?
I can't read my own tag.
Okay.
You
did buy the shirt.
Mine is.
How do you know?
Okay. Maybe you did buy the shirt.
Ooh, look at that.
Is that a gift from the parents?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mine's a Banana Republic.
Banana Republic. There we go. They make good shirts.
Quiet on the set again.
Oh, we got to do this over again?
Yeah. That was chastising. That was chastised.
We got chastised by the director.
Director chastised. And you can tell we're listening right here. Juice.
Oh, he's the director. We're supposed to listen to him?
He's listening.
Oh, got it.
People are saying, quiet, gentlemen.
How was your week today?
That's very good. Good Friday morning, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and this is Real Talk with Keith Smith. Thank you kindly for joining us on a glorious and gorgeous spring morning in downtown Charlottesville, Virginia. Today's program spotlights a man that's been in the game of real estate since 1987, and his name is Keith Smith. He's a general contractor, a licensed general contractor. He's a real estate agent. He is a owner of a real estate brokerage, he and his beautiful wife, Yona. And he has experience and savvy and sophistication when it comes to all facets of real estate. I've spent, how many shows?
Oh, God, I forgot.
It's
north of, we've lost count.
North of how many?
I can't remember.
Is it 700?
If it's more than, yeah.
I've spent hundreds of hours sitting across from the table from Keith Smith, learning this game we call real estate. And today's show is going to be kind of a microcosm of those, oh my goodness, he's not old, but he has been in the business for 38 years. We're going to talk.
You can call me old.
I'm not calling you old.
You can call me old.
I would never call you old.
I wear that moniker with pride.
You have a youthful spirit, and that's one of my favorite qualities about him. We want to highlight Yes Realty Partners, a name you can trust. Yes Realty Partners. I've seen them, folks, take challenged homes and get them across the line to the closing table and beyond. I have seen it firsthand. And if you have one of those homes that may or may not be selling or may not be moving, it's time to consider Yes Realty Partners and Keith and Yona Smith. Judah Wickower is the director and producer of today's show, and giddy up and get ready. HUD has its median family household income that's out, and the Charlottesville market is expensive.
Well, the one thing that I didn't post in this, though, the number actually went down.
Did it go down?
It went from 124 and change to 123, so it's about 1,000.
124.2 is what it previously was.
And it's 123 and change. So it's roughly 1,000. It's rough. Am I doing something wrong here, Judah? No. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was pointing at me. $1,000 less.
Okay.
So, but we're the highest area median income on it, and I think Kevin, our friend, kind of said, well, we don't compare to these other cities.
Well, let me set the stage so then you offer your commentary here.
Sure.
And then viewers and listeners jump in here. The Charlottesville Metropolitan Statistical Area just ranked number 1 in the United States of America for area median income, AMI, per capita for 2025. 2025?
2025. Well,
that's 2024 data.
Yeah, it's 24. It's 24 data, but they call it for 25.
Call it for 2020. That is according to Fannie Mae and HUD. That means we have outranked every metro area in the nation. Number 2 is San Francisco. Number 3 is Washington, D.C. Number 4 is New York City. And number 5 is Boston. Ladies and gentlemen, it is getting more and more expensive to live in the Charlottesville area. Judah Wickower, get ready for Keith Smith to offer some commentary on this. And then I have my questions for you.
Yeah, so it's not commentary. It's just, we've been talking about this for a while, and it's just in your face now that, we are per capita, make more income per capita than any other MSA.
In the nation.
In the nation, right? So an MSA is a metropolitan statistical area, right? So this is set up by HUD, and what they do is they draw these little magic lines around these jurisdictions. We talked about this on the intro, on the warm-up. In our MSA, it excludes Louisa. Louisa's in the Fredericksburg, I believe, MSA on it. So per capita, so I haven't figured out how many people are actually in those 5 jurisdictions, but it's probably about 250 plus or minus kind of thing. Per capita, we're at the highest income in the nation. And we've been number 1 for a lot of things. I'm not really sure this is a good one to be number 1, but
Depends on how you look at it.
and that's where
Depends on how you look at it. If you're looking at it from I want to buy a house standpoint or I need to afford to live here standpoint, this is not good for you.
Well,
if you're looking at this where you're trying to build a business and grow a business, and you're looking at this where you have upward or vertical earning potential, then this is a good thing because it's a sign of a strong economy.
Well, the other thing that we're going to talk about is...
Or is it a sign of a strong
Well,
economy?
the other thing we're going to talk about is what we started last Friday about the cost of waiting, the opportunity cost of waiting. But we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. But yeah, so it's just tremendous amount of pressure putting on the housing stock. It makes those of us who are in the housing affordability space, our job even that much harder. But we talked about this on the show for many, many times before, and I talked to clients about this. The Charlottesville region, MSA, is the second highest cost of living in the state of Virginia, next to Northern Virginia, right? I think, and Kevin said something about, well, San Francisco and New York can get different things, and I was about to say earlier.
I think he alludes to the amenities,
Yeah.
the job market, and the
100%.
offerings of San Francisco and New York and how they are uncomparable to what Charlottesville's offering.
And I don't disagree with that.
And he says this is a direct result of work from home. A direct result of work
You're
from home.
talking about the income thing.
The income thing
No,
in
I
Charlottesville.
disagree.
I
Kevin,
think that's a big piece of it, Keith Smith.
It could be, but that's not what I think the majority of that is.
Stephanie Wells Rhodes, let us know what you think.
So nationally, last year, the average buyer was 57 years old.
Okay.
I can't, we don't have the data for Charlottesville because the Charlottesville folks don't keep track of that, the age of the buyers. So what you're seeing down there, and we're seeing it right now, a lot of our buyers, they're retirees, they're older in their years, they've cashed out of the Northern Virginia or Northeast market, back to our conversation we had on last Friday, right? They're just bringing wads of cash down here, and this is increasing the income because they're bringing their income with them. Even, I had somebody yesterday goes, well, people are retired. Yeah, but they're living off their retirement income, and that counts as income, right? And these people have huge pensions, right, or whatever. They're not the copper fireman that's coming down like my father. Then he came down in 99, or 89, with a $20,000, pension per year. These are huge pensions that they come in. And that's really the bigger influx, I think, on this jumping so high, is these people, the people are relocating here because they love it. They want to go to the... I'd
love to know if that's actually, and I want to trust but verify. Verify.
We don't know. That's the problem.
How can we find that out?
You can't.
Because I think it is certainly retirees driving up the cost of living, but this is area median family income.
Sure.
So if it's area median
The
family
middle.
income, it's also going to be impacted by millennial families that are able to work hybridly or remotely in the Charlottesville area while maintaining jobs in DC, Manhattan,
Yeah.
Southeast. I was playing double squash yesterday, and one of the gentlemen that was on the court playing against us made the comment that he is a family member that is working in finance in Greenwich, but has the opportunity to Greenwich, Connecticut, making a boatload, obscene amount of money.
Yeah, sure.
But his wife and children are living in Charlottesville.
Yeah.
And he is legitimately flying from Charlottesville to Greenwich Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and all the other days staying here in Charlottesville.
So this number is much like the conversation we have about solving affordable housing. It's not a silver bullet. So it's not one thing. There's multiple different things that play into it. It's the retirees, right? It's the folks that are working from home. It is multiple different things, and this market just grew. And the important part, not the important part, the thing that I think we need to talk a little bit about, even though we might have shaved $1,000 off, it's still 123.
I'm shocked that the HUD median family household income went down.
It shaved off about $1,000.
That surprises me. I would not have guessed that would have happened.
And that number does this, Jerry.
Oh no, I know it does. I know it does.
And there are snapshots in time and stuff like that. But why these HUD numbers are so important, because it kind of sets the loan product. So one of the positives that might happen out of this, Jerry, is the jumbo might go up a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I think the jumbo has gone up.
But I think it might even get re-looked at again.
It should go up again.
Yeah.
Another thing that should go up is the capital gains for couples that live in a primary residence.
Sure.
That threshold of capital gains shelter is $500K.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
A single person is $250. With the amount of appreciation that American homeowners have had, especially if they own prior to COVID, that $250 number for a single person and $500 for a married couple should be way higher.
Yeah. So jumbo will go
Not
up
that I'm
long.
saying.
Yeah, I get it. Jumbo will go up long before anybody does that, because you're just taking tax dollars out of things. So that,
of course.
That's.
But that's an antiquated threshold. Neil Williamson's got comments.
I just do want to add a couple of things just before
Sure.
we read the comments.
Comments are coming in quickly.
Yes, sir. So I just want to make because I thought about this, because I saw Kevin's post from the other day.
And Kevin Yancey's a bear.
I
we appreciate the Bears' perspective.
I love talking to him.
Yeah.
He's a fellow brother service person. I love him. So the difference is, so I had a bunch of my New York family down last weekend, and we were sitting on the front porch
Okay.
and having a conversation. And I sat back and watched them, and you'll have this conversation with your New York family. The very first, we walked in, the very first thing they started talking about is traffic, and the traffic on what it's going to take to get back and drive back up, and when they should leave. It just wasn't about, hey, let's go to a vineyard, let's go do whatever.
It's a brutal way to live.
That's the negative side. When you take a look at these San Francisco, New York, Washington, D.C., you think traffic's bad here? That is horrible, right?
Yeah.
My daughter travels from Greenwich, right, from Norwalk into the city to do a makeup job. It can take her 45 minutes or 4 hours. Right, and it just depends on the traffic. So the quality of life for certain people are way better here than up there. Yes, I can go. Yona and I love the Met, love the opera. I mean, we get to go see the Paramount here live, HD live, which is wonderful. But there's nothing like going to Lincoln Center and watching the Met live, or going to D.C. to the Kennedy Center and watch the National Opera, if you're into that kind of thing. It's a huge, huge difference. But for a small footprint town, you have all these pieces of those puzzles there for you to live the life you want to live. And oh, by the way, it doesn't take me 4 hours to go from Lake Monticello to here. I'll let you ask.
Okay, so comments are coming in. Neil Williamson, president of the Free Enterprise Forum.
Neil,
I'm going to go.
See you yesterday.
I'm going to go first. You at the car awards presentation. Is that where you saw Neil?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, the car awards presentation.
It was a great They did a great job.
Now, did you know, realtors, and maybe folks don't realize this, you can be nominated or voted or awarded a Hall of Fame recognition while still being alive. In years past, you had to pass before you were allowed in the Hall of Fame. Now you can still be above ground.
And a shout out to Greg Slater, got the Realtor of the Year.
Well earned, Greg Slater.
Very much so.
Well earned. Let's see. Neil Williamson is watching the program. And Mr. Williamson, guys, is the president of the Free Enterprise Forum, and he is an all-around good guy.
And donate to them, please, because he keeps us up to date on what's happening in the local jurisdiction.
I'm going to go Jason Howard after Neil Williamson, Vanessa Parkhill after Jason Howard, and then I'll go back to you, Kevin Yancey. Neil Williams says, supporting Kevin Yancey's comments, according to Hamilton Lombard of Weldon Cooper, after Albemarle and Charlottesville, Fairfax County is the top place of work for the Charlottesville MSA residents.
Yeah, there you go.
And he's highlighting the hybrid remote work. So I want to say this.
Hybrid, I agree with.
According to Hamilton Lombard, by the way, Hamilton Lombard is an excellent squash player. Plays squash 5 days a week, Hamilton. He says, according to Hamilton Lombard of Weldon Cooper, after Albemarle and Charlottesville, Fairfax County is the top place of work for Charlottesville MSA residents. That means they're working hybrid and remote. He also adds, in addition, Lombard's State of the Community presentation indicated outside Florida, the Charlottesville area has the highest share of residents reporting investments as an income source. 31%. That's bananas. That's absolutely bananas. Holly Foster's watching in Henrico. Now, let's go to Jason. Do you want to comment on that?
So 31% is investments. Neil, if you had a source where we can figure out what the average age of the buyer.
And this is actual, I fall in this
folks-
31% category with 24 tenants here.
Yeah. So, but what I'm trying to find out is if we could determine what the average age of the move-in folks, and maybe I need to reach out to Weldon Cooper, see if they have that type of
I
information.
think Neil could probably source that from Weldon Cooper. And you want, Neil Williamson, Keith Smith would like the age of the folks moving to Charlottesville or the Charlottesville MSA.
Average age.
Yeah, Jason Howard on Rio Road. Data like this must be part of why the county government has no qualms raising taxes year after year in every category. For every resident they push out, they can be sure of a replacement to inflate values further and give them more money to squander. Sorry, I suppose the proper word is budget. Jason Howard, it's a great comment from Jason
So,
Howard. Appreciate you, Jason.
got it, hear you. Technically, the appraised values are based on market.
Assess value.
Thank you, assess value. Thank
But
you.
that's, I'll
Thank
push
you.
back on Keith Smith. The
Well,
tax
hold on.
rate's being increased.
Well, hang on a second. There's three-sided, right?
Yep.
So the assessed value is based on market rate.
Yep.
So since we have more wealthier people living here, paying more for houses, right? We're going to talk about this later. From 2022
This is bananas what he's about to say.
to...
Your hair looks great, by the way.
Thank you. I got a haircut yesterday.
I can tell. I was giving you some props.
I
Yeah.
got the mustache trimmed too.
Yeah. I like how it's hanging over on the side.
Yeah.
Who cut the hair this time?
Yeah, so no, thanks. Time out. Let me
Yeah,
take
I know
a
how to
note.
distract Keith Smith
Let me
over
take a note here. Because hair's important, so hang on a second. Let's
Two
make sure I
guys
don't
that are
lose
very
my
vain
train of
about their
thought.
hair right here.
No, I'm not vain. I'm just blessed. I still got it at 60-something years old. No, I do lamb shop right by the.
Oh, yeah.
I've been doing that and it's just a convenience thing. I
Yeah.
walk out of my office, get a haircut, and walk
Yeah.
back in. So what were we talking about?
You were about to highlight from
Yeah.
2022 to now the level of appreciation.
13.5%.
So the people that have been waiting for rates to go down to 5%, you guys are not winning here.
That's in 27 months.
Yeah, in 27 months, we've seen 13+% appreciation. We've lived in our neighborhood for, Keith, what, 9 months? And in 9 months, I think we're at $250,000 in appreciation. And 9 months.
I would agree with that. Well, you made some improvements,
Well,
which kind of
yeah.
gets you there. So look, I've been asked. Let me try to use that word properly. I've been asked many a time, or told many a time, that I'm waiting for 5% to come around, right? And this is an ever climbing and chasing story, right? So if you're waiting for 5% along, just an looking at it from a business perspective, an opportunity cost loss, right? So if you would have bought a house at the median sales price of $423 at the end of 2022, that house right now, as of 328, the median sales price, this is car footprint, all product types, yada, 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 is $380. That's a 13.5% increase. You lost, it's cost you $57,000 more to buy it, and you lost $57,000 in equity. That's a $114,000 delta for waiting 27 months. And that ratio, it may not be 2 years from now 13%, maybe it's 10% or 6% or 8%. But that trajectory is just going to keep on climbing. There's opportunity costs lost. Now, people may not be ready to buy, but when, the old adage is what's the best time to buy? Now.
Yeah.
Start building your equity, and then I needed to try to come up with a better tagline than, date the rate, buy the house, marry the house thing. I kind of hate that. You build equity in your home, not the interest rate, right? So you don't build equity in your interest rate, you build it in your home. If and when we go back to 5% and everything I'm reading, and, they don't have crystal balls, I don't think we're going to see 5% for a substantial period of time.
Vanessa Parkhill watching the program. It's wonderful that so many in our community, she says, earn a nice living. Every area will have challenges. This is a good one to have. Amen, Vanessa. I concur. She also says the important thing is to have leadership that does not rest on their laurels and focuses on sustaining the good times. Trust me, as a Rust Belt baby, I can tell you there's no guarantee that the good times will continue to roll. Our local economy still needs to be nurtured. Great comment, Vanessa Parkhill. And there are some headwinds. Some of those headwinds that are coming here are the Elon Musk, Doge, Trump cuts. Some of those headwinds are the University of Virginia with 30,000 employees just pretty much this week said there's going to be a hiring freeze. There's going to be no cost of living raises. There's going to be no performance-based raises. And there's going to be no unnecessary discretionary spending associated with research. A letter from President Ryan to the 30,000 University of Virginia employees. That's a headwind. How long that will last, only time will tell.
When I was getting my hair cut yesterday, this topic came up. And the topic came up of the, number one in the country for AMI and blah, 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 blah. And, what was that impact going to be on housing? And I just keep on using my old 10-meter, 20-foot pool. Yes, there's all these different things going on, right? And what's going to happen is the kiddie pool, which is the inventory, might grow a little bit, but the 20-foot side, which is the 10-foot meter side of the pool where the folks jump into, it might go down a little bit, but it's just this unbalance. And the only way you can rebalance this, and this is a whole topic for another show, and people will debate this, is you've got to change the dynamic of the inventory. And how you change the dynamic of the inventory is to add more new units to that. Is that going to happen anytime soon? In Greene County it will, but not in the rest of the jurisdictions anytime.
Viewers and listeners, let us know your thoughts. We'll relay them live on air.
Greene County, if Neil is still listening.
He is still watching.
Yon and I at Spring Creek in the last 2 weeks have written 4 contracts out there. They are rocking and rolling.
Spring Creek is red hot.
I apologize.
You're talking about the neighborhood in Greene, not the neighborhood in Zion's Crossroads.
Creekside, sorry.
Yeah.
I reversed it in my head. Creekside. And we sold 4 units out there. So units are starting to come out of the ground, get under contract real fast out in Greene County. So keep an eye out in Greene County for new construction, guys.
Jamie Turner watching the program. We're going to get to JT, the mayor of Gordonsville, here in a matter of moments. In fact, why don't I bring Jamie in right now? He's a government contractor, I believe, Jamie. Is that accurate? He says, what will be interesting to watch is Doge and Doge's impact on the area, which will hit both the largest economic drivers, UVA and the government. Doge is hitting the University of Virginia now. I'll highlight this again.
What's the number one?
Yeah, government contracting in the Commonwealth of Virginia as it applies to GDP. I will highlight this again. Jim Ryan this week wrote a letter, and this letter was leaked on social media and passed on to us by a dozen people. This letter said from the president's desk that it's basically a hiring freeze right now at UVA. There's going to be no cost of living raises at the University of Virginia. There's going to be no performance-based raises at UVA, and discretionary spending, unnecessary discretionary spending as it applies to research is on ice right now. Furthermore, the UVA School of Medicine in a Zoom meeting that was conducted last week said you may be looking at 5, 10, and 15% pay cuts. Right now, the morale at the University of Virginia with its employee base may be at a generation low. The morale at UVA.
I'm just reading an article that just came across from Reese Media. NAR just eliminated 61 positions.
Yeah.
It's probably,
good.
It's not towards.
It's good.
It's not.
CAR was bloated with payroll, or NAR was.
Yeah. I'm scanning through the article right now. I have to read it, but it looks like it might be related to some of the settlement stuff. But
yeah.
Anyway, so NAR's cutting back. Yeah, and look, just to focus on our area and focus on this. I haven't had a chance to reach out to the good Dr. Lisa Steravant this week. I'm waiting to the end of the month to see what the first quarter up in the Bright footprint in Northern Virginia looks like, about the number of homes that came on the market, active new listings, versus the same quarter for last year. I'd love to find out, are we par and par? Is there more? Is there less? Just to see what the tempo is in Northern Virginia. So I won't know that until about another week from now when she gets me that data.
Neil Williamson says, according to Weldon Cooper, over 2 in 5 of the region's workers live outside the Charlottesville MSA. Good Lord. More than 40% of the region's workers don't live here.
Think about that.
That makes sense.
So that means, well, since Louisa is not in the MSA, you could probably count some of those people in Louisa, but they're the other side of the hill.
Yeah. That's what it means.
Buckingham,
Orange, Louisa.
Orange isn't inexpensive, by the way.
No, definitely not. Yeah. That's why. Orange is adjacent to Keswick.
Well, this circle just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Who was it? It was Quentin Beckham. Did Quentin Beckham coin the term
"fly till you qualify"?
Yeah, I think
Quentin Beckham did. Quentin Beckham had. I haven't seen Quentin Beckham in a minute. I hope you're doing well, Quentin.
I saw him the other day. We had a business meeting and dinner on Tuesday.
Jason Howard watching the program. He says the 13% appreciation, I believe, seen a higher number on my real estate tax assessment. It would be nice if that trickled down to public servants in the county.
Yeah.
Haven't heard from any firefighters or teachers about double-digit pay increases, pension bumps, or healthcare cost reductions. The budget presentation posted online showed where the proposed budget with a 4-cent increase would flow. It would be nice to see where this 13% bump is already going before we ask the taxpayers for more.
So that's median, right? So I took.
Mine was 23% year over year.
Well, that was your assessment.
23% assessment.
This is market value, right? This is market value. So that's median. I just wanted to kind of do the math on, if I would have bought at the end of 2022 and I bought now interest rates are a little higher, right? Not much higher, because at the end of 2022 we were hitting 7% already, and we're kind of around the same price point at this. But you're paying $57,000 more median average price. That doesn't mean some are higher or some are lower. So you're losing a total of 114 grand. If you waited 2 years, you lost $114,000.
Juan Sarmiento, Louise is getting expensive. There is not any way I could live in the home we are living in right now.
Yeah.
He's watching the program.
Yeah, and that just, thank you, that just adds to the point I'm trying to make, is houses are getting more expensive. Interest rates aren't dropping down. We got more income coming here than ever before, right? Bigger dollars than ever before, which is raising the whole AMI. And this wrap it back around to what I kind of do for a living. This is when you need a trusted advisor on the other side. I'm not trying to make a selfless plug for myself. I'm really not, because there's a lot of great real estate agents out there. But you need somebody that knows how to interpret this, manage this, and go through. I can't talk about it anymore because we're trying to do it. But there was a reasonably priced, in today's market, home at Lake Monticello for $340,000.
Do you happen to know the owners of this reasonably priced home?
I'm trying, brother. We've been doing this long enough to know that.
Do you happen to love them dearly?
I love all my clients dearly.
Okay. Did one of them happen to bring you into the world?
All my clients. Nice try. This is.
I
Are you
love
trying? Are you trying to do a Ned Galloway on me, right, and get me to say something I'm not supposed to say? I don't want to say because I believe in jinx.
I know you do.
I do. So.
Yona certainly does.
Oh, I guarantee you that.
Right now, I'm getting the
Yeah,
shame, Jerry.
Yeah. Your ass is in trouble.
Yeah, I know. And basically, what they're talking about is don't talk about something until the ink is dry, is what he's alluding to.
And closed.
And close, yeah.
Yeah. Reasonably priced home, great condition, great location, multiple offers at the 340-ish range, right? So that just tells you.
As it should.
100%. That just tells you the story of this sucking sound of this 20-foot pool of buyers. As soon as something comes on, they just suck it over there. Another piece of new construction information, Colonial Circle, right? Stanley Martin, they got 200 units going in there that are attached and detached new construction units. I was in a meeting yesterday. They're over a third sold out already and will probably by the end of the year get north of 50%, close to 75%. So they're projecting to build out that in 24 months. Now, as a recovering developer and builder, when I used to build projects of that size, and somebody told me I can build it out in 24 months, I tell them, get the hell out of my office. But it's going to sell out. It's pretty close to making that happen, and within 24 months, then we're done. No more new construction, no more new opportunities out there to buy in Fluvanna County.
Kevin Yancey, are you alluding to prices potentially falling here because of the layoffs associated with Doge and Musk and Trump and the cuts?
Not going to happen.
I need to highlight to you, respectfully, sir, that prices are not going to fall. Kevin Yancey.
No. Well,
I want to emphasize that. He's been alluding to this for years. Another guy that can be bearish at times that I follow on social media, I respect him tremendously, Eric Thompson, who believes a downturn is on the horizon, and he says absolutely prices are going to fall. Kevin Yancey, Kev, my friend,
look. So it's always these big.
You're not reading the tea leaves correctly.
When, right? Yes. At some point there will be a pendulum swinging the other way. Here's the reason why I will stand on my laurels that is not going to happen. Buyer pool is too huge, way too much cash out there in the marketplace. That might change. Even if 5% mortgage rates should happen again, those buyers sitting on the sideline that are not even in the pool yet are going to start jumping into the pool. The problem is you just don't have enough units to buy. We went, depending on how you talk to, between 2007 and 2010, when the time of great unpleasantness happened in it, we went from producing 2 million new units a year nationwide to 300, and we stuck between 300 and 400. So we're short, I guess, depending on who you talk to, just to keep up with current demand, not including this huge pool of Gen Zs and millennials that are trying to get into the market, that are sitting on the sidelines,
there it is,
that are building cash. Oh, by the way,
I got family members, dinks that are family members. You know what dinks? Dual income, no kids.
Mm-hmm. They got a puppy though.
No puppy. Dual income, no kids. Been trying to get into the housing market for 24 months.
Yeah.
Bidding wars, pricing them out.
But you know what those dinks are doing?
They're stockpiling hordes of cash.
That's exactly what they're doing.
This couple, we're talking young millennials, both employed.
That's exactly
these dinks, both employed, probably flirting with somewhere between 200 and 250 of combined household income.
So this house that should remain nameless, right? So my buyer profile is like, okay, well, it's not Keith and Yona, because primary's on the second story, yada, yada, yada,
it's
yada.
Dinks.
It's younger people.
Yeah, dual income, no kids.
It's younger.
That want to start families.
It's younger people.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm thinking, okay, so we're going to see a lot of...
this couple is hoarding cash.
So let me get this out. Yeah. So I'm thinking we're going to see a lot of 97 threes, right? 97% loan, 3% cash. I'm going to start seeing a lot of I need closing cost assistance.
Oof.
Right? This is what I'm thinking. Okay, this is
But that's not what you're seeing with these multiple offers.
100%
Are you seeing 20% downs?
and more.
20% downs is what, 68 at that point?
And more.
Yeah. These are the dinks that have
They
hoarded
are-
cash,
they
have been
are
priced
not-
out for 24 months.
They are not old people with gray hair.
That's what I'm saying. I got a set
Well, I
like
knew
that in
was
my
the bo-
family.
In this unnameless situation.
Yeah.
You know, that was, I mean, it was just logical, right?
Kevin, and viewers and listeners, you are underestimating the young millennial and the Gen Zer that's been on the sidelines for 24 to
100%.
36 months.
And who wants to get in the market?
Who is dying to get in,
100%.
who is very well employed.
100%. And are like, you know, not doing the latte factor.
Oh, no. These folks are.
They're doing this like
Dude.
50 grand a year, putting the money aside.
Yeah, they're not
Because
boozing.
what is our income? Number one.
Yeah.
And they have these additional cash that they're putting into these pots
There
of
it is.
cash to go ahead and do that. And that's what you're starting to see. And it's just going to be a tremendous amount of pressure. To support Kevin's point for a second, micro markets will matter. You will see some markets.
I mean, frankly, Kev, your market's facing a little bit of headwinds right here.
Yeah, the other side of the hill is slow.
Waynesboro is facing some headwinds,
The other
Kev.
side of the hill, the other side of that, because we looked at it on a couple of shows ago. It's growing.
It's not appreciating at the clip of
That's it right there.
Albemarle County.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. It's
West Side Albemarle.
So what's happening is it's appreciating, in my opinion, as it should, as a healthy appreciation. It should be 3 to 6%. But it was, and I can see if you're living over there, you could be thinking this. It was double digits. Now it's down to mid to low digits. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but you know, for the sake of a talk show, it's about the range, right? So if you're looking at it, you can say, well, hold it. You know, there is a little bit of an appreciation drop, but it doesn't have a negative number in front of it, right? It's not a 2007, right? Poof, you know, pop goes the weasel, and Smith goes broke. You know, that kind of thing. So look, time will tell. Kevin, we keep an eye on this pretty closely here.
This is what we do. This is what we do every day.
And we're reporting it. But at the moment, I honestly believe even if tomorrow interest rates drop to 5%, prices will actually spike.
Dude, if interest rates dropped into the 5% range, you're going to put thousands of
so here's the play
to the market.
What do we call them? Dinks?
Dinks, dual income, no kids.
So here's the play, and I've just this last week or two has really opened up my eyes to this, right? So these millennials, these dinks, whatever we wish to call them, younger people that have been staring at hearts of cash. Jerry, how are they making up the difference between 5 and 7? How are they making up the difference?
5 and 7%?
Yep. How are they making up the
Tell
difference?
me.
They're putting more cash down. They're borrowing less money. So instead of borrowing $350,000 or whatever it is at 7%, they're bringing $80,000, $90,000 cash to the table and putting 7% on the balance. Oh, guess what? You know, if this was 5% or something, that they
wouldn't need to do that.
They would have borrowed more money. But why do most people buy houses based upon? Monthly payments.
Yeah.
And they're just dumping their cash. And my eyes totally opened up over the last 2 weeks about looking at, holy moly, where are these people getting this cash? And they're getting it. And a little trick, when you have a large pot on that, just a little contract trip, folks, don't accept a contract unless you've got a proof of funds for that. You know, when people are doing $80,000, $100,000 down payments on a house, you want to make sure that that cash is
on hand.
Real.
Well, and another thing, realtors watching this program, make sure the cash is accessible. A lot of people have cash that are in 401ks and cash that are in stocks and equities, and it takes some time before to get it. I saw a deal the other day fall through. Listen to this. A deal the other day fall through because the folks, while they had cash on hand, it was in a 401k, and they couldn't get the money in time for the escrow deposit. because there was a turnaround time from getting the money out of the 401k
Oh, wow.
into the bank account. And that turnaround time surpassed the 5-day threshold.
Yeah.
And then it went to the other.
This
and
was
it
a
went to
residential deal?
Yeah, no.
It was a commercial deal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
got it.
Went to the other opportunity, went to the other buyer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just a matter of who's representing.
Well, frankly speaking, the broker involved should have been very privy of, can you meet this escrow deadline, and did not do the due diligence.
So you said exactly what
Yeah.
I was thinking.
Yeah,
Right.
the question should have been, let me see it, is it accessible right now?
Yeah.
Is what should have been done.
Well, yeah, that
Yeah.
100%.
Now, it's one thing to look at a 401k statement and see the money. The next question you should say, I see it
Well,
in your 401k. How quickly can you access the funds liquid?
So let's stay in the residential world, because the commercial world's,
Well, that could happen in residential.
well, that's
Yeah.
what I'm going with. So look, if you get a proof of funds, if it's a cash deal, a proof of funds is the 401k, right? I'm on the listing side to do it. And I got a 30 to 60-day close. There's enough time for them to move money around. But a GFD,
Let them know what GFD is.
good faith deposit.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, if you're pulling that
Out of 401k,
Yeah,
that takes time.
yeah, and the penalties on it.
Well, I mean, some people are willing to take the penalties on.
Sure.
That's their prerogative, right?
100%.
It's another thing where you get a pre-qual from a mortgage broker and says you can buy up to this threshold, and that mortgage broker has got you qualified based on your 401k balance, but the cash is not liquid.
Well, so we're talking two different things, right? So if it's a 30-year mortgage, right, how they do what they have to do on that, that's fine. The cash needs, they need to have funds
Available.
yeah, and in the contract, you write if it's not attached to the contract, the good faith deposit, you have so many days for that to happen, which is you're referring to. That didn't happen, and then that automatically terminates the contract.
Yeah, and then backup offer got put in play.
And somebody is probably upset about that.
Woody Fincham watching multiple people,
Yeah.
many parties. Woody Fincham on YouTube. I recently had 4 clients that have been selling off investment properties so that they can pay off their primary residence. They all work for the government, and they all are preparing for the worst. The first person I heard on this network highlight Doge and the headwinds associated with the government cuts was Woody Fincham here.
Yeah.
And straight up this week, ladies and gentlemen, Pres Ryan with a letter to all employees, hiring freeze, no cost of living raises, no discretionary spending associated with research, no performance-based raises. That's UVA 30,000
But I want
employees.
to quantify this, and love Woody with all my heart and soul. And I get it, and some of these things are happening, right? But Doge, whatever's happening in the northern market, right?
DC, Northern Virginia.
Is
I called that first.
Is not going to have this huge influx of inventory here, right? It's actually going to do the opposite.
That's what I said.
You're going to have people coming from Northern Virginia down. I'm seeing it already.
They're going to sell their DC houses, Northern Virginia houses, and they're going to come down. And even if it's an increase of 500 buyers, that's going to have a huge impact.
100%. Because guess what we don't have?
Inventory.
An extra 500 houses,
Exactly.
properties to sell. Look, it's peace out. See you later. I've been looking to get the hell out of Northern Virginia anyway.
Right.
I'm going to take my X dollars,
Yeah.
whatever it is. And
I can reimagine my life now.
I can
I have
reimagine.
massive equity in my home. Fine. Musk and the government don't want us to work here. Fine. I'm
I've
going to
got-
go down and do this, and I have some runway. I have some. I got a buyout.
So the funny,
Severance.
So we had this conversation last Friday, and it's interesting.
Cobra Healthcare.
The interesting thing is so that's what happened in 87, 80, when we started building, but it was more at the blue collar level, right? It was more of the cops, the firemen. They were retiring out of New York. I mean, we've done hundreds of houses like that for these folks. Sold their house on Long Island back in '90 for $200,000, or whatever it was, $250. Came down here, had something built for $150. These were much different numbers. But you're right, and until I read this article or started digging into this on Monday, just the number, the volume of the cap of the dollars that are coming in here is just freaking huge. And when we beat San Francisco, freaking San Francisco is number 2 per capita. That tells you all you need to know.
Bingo.
And yes, it's a different lifestyle and da-da-da-da-da-da, and I get all that, right? But
I would say a better lifestyle.
Well, it depends. If that's what people like, God bless them, and that's where they go. But I'm just talking about dollar to dollar. And oh, by the way, what you can get, oh, I'm getting into trouble here. What you can get is just, it's amazing. Anyway, it's going to be a constant pressure.
Multiple people are asking the question, can Keith put in that appreciation amount, the opportunity cost of not buying a home, into perspective again, your post?
Yeah.
Guys, listen to this.
So, you want me to recap it?
Oh, please.
Okay. So,
Gary Palmer, we love you. Alex
Hey,
Ruby,
Gary,
we love
how's
you.
it going,
Carly
man?
Wagner, we love you.
hey, Carly.
Scott Thorpe, you're crushing it over there with real estate and listings. Ray Cadell, what's up, dude?
I love Ray. At the end of 2022, the median sales price and the car footprint, so by the way, this includes Louisa, right, which the MSA does not, was 423. As of today, the median sales price, as of this morning when I ran this for the same car foot, this is all product types, right? Attached, detached, condos, new construction, all lumped into one big number, is 480. So that's a 13.5% increase in 27 months. So if you would have waited to buy, you're paying $57,000 more for the home, and you're losing equity of $57,000. So you're actually, your opportunity cost, like if you look at this from a business perspective, you've just lost $114,000 by waiting 27 months.
And the rates still haven't gotten to 5%.
And
I'm not trying to laugh here.
No, well,
it's just a complete misread.
So it's funny.
It's not funny. It's sad. Because I know people that are in this position. I know you do too.
And this is a matter of,
it's a complete misread of the what.
Yeah. So they're afraid, they're frightened, they don't. It's you have to help these people.
Bad counsel.
You have to help these people navigate themselves through this, and you've got to figure out. I learned this when I was 19 years old, 18 years old, when I was attached to the U.S. embassies in the Soviet Union, and the ambassador told me this thing that's stuck in my head ever since. You need to explain something to the person on the other side the way they understand it, not the way you understand it, right? So sometimes I tend to go down, I sometimes forget that and get too geekish or too whatever, but sometimes I have to constantly remind myself, okay, I need to explain what's in my head, which is a scary thought in itself, to somebody else in the way they understand it, not the way I understand it. And that's hard to do, very hard to do. So that's part of what this is going on here. You need to sit down with the family or the dink that has this money. So if you're waiting for 5%, it's not going to happen. Here's the math, right? So do it now, because if you wait another 24 months, who the hell knows? It might be another 114. It might be less, but it ain't going to go the other way. It's going to be more. And then, you can, when it drops down to 5%, you can refinance it, put a little bit of cash on the side. If you don't want to use all your cash for your down payment, for your refi at a later date, whatever it is, you can go ahead and do this. But, look, I was going to add to this post, which I decided not to do it, what the mortgage projections are for the next 12 to 20
Yeah, I don't even buy those projections.
And
is that why you didn't? Because you see the projections being so wrong?
Yeah, this cup of coffee's got a better chance
Right.
of
100%.
predicting that. We just know it ain't going backwards anytime soon.
Yeah. Guys, if you're waiting for
It's just not going
3 and 4%, you just need another. If you want a 3 or 4% mortgage, you want a 2.5%, 3% mortgage, all you need is another global pandemic to happen.
The frustrating part from this side of the table, trying to help the other side of the table, is when they have like 20% cash, 30% cash, and they're still waiting. And how do you impart on that person or persons that now's the right time to do this? Now, if you got to find the right house, right? It's got to be in the right neighborhood.
I don't even think you don't even need to find the right house.
Well, you do. That's important. I know for you it's not, but
don't even need to find the right house. You need to get in a house. You need to
I hear
start
you.
building equity.
I hear you.
This is coming from a landlord.
I agree. Yes, of course. Yes.
Over paralysis of analysis,
Get into the game.
or waiting for the white picket fence American dream on your first home is not the right thinking.
Get into the game.
And that's what I'll coach my kids to do.
Get into the game. Start building your appreciation. Start building your equity. Right. The time of great unpleasantness. There's no indication that's ever going to happen.
First
again.
place I bought wasn't a place I wanted to buy. Damn glad I have it now as a fully paid off rental though.
Yeah, so there's a flip side to this too. People are just waiting for longer. The average age of the first time home buyer
Is older.
was 38.
Yeah,
I
which
believe-
is bananas to me.
And I don't know if
That is
Neil's-
bananas to me.
I can't do this quickly, and if Neil's still watching or somebody else can do it. I believe that was a 4-year jump in 1 year. I believe the year before it was at 34. I may have that number wrong. I know it's 38 now, right? And this is kind of tags along where people are waiting to have children to later on in life, which is a whole different topic and a whole different discussion as an old guy that is about ready to have his 4th grandchild.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And thinking about how awesome I am as a relatively healthy 60-something year old
young man for 4 grandkids.
that can spend time,
that can enjoy them.
that I can enjoy them.
Yeah.
If you extrapolate that math, if you're having kids at 36, 38, 40, we're blessed. My parents, my grandchildren are hanging out with their great-grandparents.
Yep.
And know their great-grandparents, and their great-grandparents are impacting their lives. They care more about them than us, right? No, seriously, they talk about them. They are at the age that they can recognize that, and they ask how my parents are doing, and I miss my parents, they want to go see it. They are actively talking about that. If we extrapolate this forward, this is unique. You don't see a lot of great-grandparents out there.
That will never happen if you extrapolate it. Yeah.
You won't get grandparents.
Yeah, right. Dude, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Right? So just think about what that
Now,
does.
now to push back on what you're saying, with the technology and innovation associated with modern medicine, we will live longer.
Got it.
While dinks, young millennials and Gen Zers are waiting longer to have kids, grandparents will live longer as technology makes life expectancy longer.
So as a guy of a certain age that doesn't sleep very well.
This is where he's going to say, do I really want to live to 100? Is that what you're going to say?
Oh, no, I would like to live as long as I can. Healthy.
Right. That's
Healthy.
the key. Right.
Healthy.
Yeah.
But a guy who doesn't sleep at night, right? I got up in the middle of the night. I kind of mapped out, because if it goes forward, if the age of people having kids keeps on growing, right? So the 38, 39, or 36-year-old that's having kids, and if their kids wait to 38, 39 to have kids, and oh, by the way, you got to tack on 3 or 4 years before that little person can recognize the grandfather, right? Your math is way off, right? You got to live north of 100. I don't think we're going to get to a society from an average age of whatever, I don't even know what the hell we are now, to 100, right? I don't know what our median age in this country is.
I don't know what that is either.
I would imagine in the 70s or something like that.
You brought some fire today.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
Quality ammunition.
How was your week?
It was fantastic.
Hey, what's your weekend plans?
Man, I got a lot going on here.
You got family, right?
Yeah, got family. Had in-laws in town for the month of March. We have actually a lot going on this weekend.
Cool.
They go back to New York on the 5th of Saturday. So this is the last weekend to end the month of March in-law extravaganza. So I would imagine.
They got to be loving it.
Oh, they love it. That's absolutely love it.
I cannot overstate how much I love being a grandfather. I love my children. I love my family. But
our son is on spring break this coming week.
Oh yeah, they're eating it up.
Yeah,
eating it up.
Our first grader.
And how much are they spoiling them?
Oh, a crazy amount. Both the 2.5-year-old and the now 7-year-old are very fortunate to have grandparents like this.
I told somebody the other day, if I could have started with them, I would have. You know, it's really great. Spend time.
It's very different than being the actual parent.
Yeah.
The actual parent is. I said this the other day to someone who was expecting their second kid, and I said, parenthood I describe like this: the best hardest thing ever
100%.
and the longest, shortest thing ever.
100%.
I can't believe I have a 7-year-old, but then I'm like, certainly feels like at times that he's a 27-year-old.
And
then our youngest didn't sleep for 7 straight months.
Oh, really?
Yeah, seven months straight.
Our Yaz was colicky
Yeah.
for about that amount of time. But before you know it, my friend, that 7-year-old
I see it already.
is going to be 27.
Yep.
And won't have anything to do with you. So,
See it already.
So
Well, your family, your daughters enjoy spending time with you. They go out of their way.
yeah, but there's cycles. There was a time, you know, and you'll find that they bounce back and forth and they move around. But you know, there was a time, you know, crazy old man, get away from me, right? And now it's the opposite. And they still call me a crazy old man, but they let me hang around every once in a while. But yeah. It's going to happen before you know it, brother.
Keith Smith, Yes Realty Partners. Keith Smith, Yes Realty Partners, a name you can trust. Yes Realty Partners, Keith and Jonas Smith.
When's the time to buy?
Now.
There you go.
Real Talk with Keith Smith online, realtalkwithkeithsmith.com, where all the shows are archived. The folks that you can trust in real estate, realtalkwithkeithsmith.com.
Google the car 2025 winners. It was some pretty awesome pool of folks. Google them. If you know them, reach out to them and thank them and congratulate them. Some awesome names.
Judah Wickower, thank you. Keith Smith, thank you. I Love CVille show, guys, at 12:30. So long, everybody.
I like your shirt. Nice shirt.
I like your shirt, too. Let's see, Doc.
Yeah.
Flew by.
Yeah, unbelievable.